Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Menendez. In today's video, I'm really excited for. I'm going to be talking about the universities that I got into and why I ultimately ended up choosing Appalachian State University. So as you're going through the video, write down some questions in the comments below, especially if you've got questions about what it's like to be a student at Appalachian State University, and let's go ahead and get into it. First school I'm going to be talking about is, of course, Appalachian State. So what were my pros for Appalachian State? What did I really like about it? The first was that the school is well known in North Carolina, and also it's big enough to where there's kind of a lot going on. I mean, they've got some sports, they've got a really nice school culture, they've got some credibility, but also the class sizes are relatively small, especially in the department that I was looking for, which is anthropology. But even though the school can be smaller than some of the other universities and the departments are smaller, they offer a lot within the programs. And the professors I noticed, because I had met a few of them when I was touring, and also I was emailing one that I really wanted to work with closely, and they were very receptive and willing to talk to you if you're interested in joining their program and Appalachian State. So that was another thing that I really liked, is automatically I could tell that the professors were really invested in the students, and that's a really big pro. And within that, I could tell that there would be a lot of opportunities for research, for getting involved, for studying abroad. And that was a big thing too. A lot of times with the bigger universities, you really have to be kind of cutthroat and willing to really push for those opportunities because they have so many students. But the nicer thing about Appalachian State is that although you get some of the perks of a big university, you also don't have to necessarily fight to get those opportunities, and the professors are really willing to help you. And the one thing that was nice about the anthropology program that I was a part of was that they didn't have a master's program. So if the professors wanted to do research, which they all do, then they are working closely and relying on these undergraduate students to help them with that. So some of the opportunities at other universities you wouldn't even have until graduate school. So that was a really big plus for me. Another pro that really jumped out to me, even when I was doing my tours and everything, was that the students are really happy to be there and they're pretty relaxed. So even though they're doing a lot of important things, or they're working really hard, or they're studying really hard, there wasn't really that culture of like, oh, we're so stressed out, we really have to get this done. And so it was a really nice culture, and everyone seemed really relaxed and just like happy to be there, even though they were working really hard. Another pro, for this is like my personal pro, is I kind of saw it as a challenge. So I'm from the Charlotte area and I really hate the cold, but of course Appalachian State University is in the mountains and it gets really cold, it gets pretty windy. But the pro there was that there would be a lot of opportunities to do things that I'd never done before. Like I'd never gone skiing or snowboarding. I really like to hike, so that was a pro, but not too many opportunities around my area. So there were just a lot of like benefits to some activities that you could do at the school, which again might kind of go into a negative or a con. If you really hate the cold, it does get pretty cold there, but it kind of balances itself in that the students really like to be outside regardless. So there's hiking, we always had a fun time skiing together and sledding and everything. So there was just a lot to do, even if it was really cold. In other places maybe there wouldn't be so much to do during the winter. So it can be kind of a pro or a con depending on your personality and what you like to do. So sorry about the incessant whining. I have the most dramatic dogs on the face of the planet. I even used a microphone, like I've used the noise reducer on my app. Like I tried my best. It would take me 8 trillion years to get this video out if I re-recorded it. So really sorry about that. Not only are they fine, they are spoiled. They spend 99% of their lives
being spoiled.
My last personal pro was when I graduated from high school. The summer afterwards, I did go to Malaysia for 8 weeks to work with orangutans, and so I was going to be a little bit late to starting my first semester of college, and I had to make sure that that was okay with the university. Some universities, I would say, were less willing, which I'll go into later, to accommodate and like work with me, but Appalachian State was like really nice about it, and they like didn't even bat an eye. They were just like, if you work it out with your professors, if you contact them ahead of time, then it's good with us. And it worked out really well. I mean, I missed like the first week of classes, which some call the syllabus week anyways, but I just emailed them, kept up with reading assignments, and it was great. So again, that's those professors really wanting to work with you, and that is a huge pro. It's my last pro that I'm going to go into here is the price. So I'm a North Carolina resident, and I was a North Carolina resident, so it was in-state tuition, and it had a really nice financial aid package, so it worked out really well for me. This isn't a personal con for me, and it wasn't, but this might be a con for you, so I'm just trying to give you multiple angles here based off of what I noticed at App State. So because we are in Boone, North Carolina, it's kind of a smaller mountain town. It was smaller, now there's a lot of students there. The traffic can be pretty bad, and then of course you're kind of isolated in a way. So if you're one of those people that like you have to go to Target every week, you really want to go to like this big mall, go shopping, have like a bunch of big city things to do, then maybe that's not the university for you. I still feel like there were a lot of fun things to do. I mean, they have bars like every other college town. They have lots of things to do, but the thing with Appalachian State is a lot of times the activities that you can do are more outdoorsy centered. So if you're an outdoorsy person, you love to go hiking, you like to go paddleboarding, you like to go on trips, weekend trips, then maybe this is the university for you. Whether but if you really want to stay like local and just have everything at your fingertips, then maybe App State isn't quite the university for you. Here's maybe a con for you that I've heard some other people say this, so I kind of want to touch on it. It itself and kind of Appalachian State University isn't the most diverse university out there. It's definitely getting a lot better, and I would say as far as that goes, it's working on it and it's improving. But if you're one of those people that really wants to be at a really diverse university, then I would say probably UNC Charlotte, maybe Chapel Hill is a good spot for you, because App State is kind of smaller. It's located in like a small mountain town. That kind of definitely shows. A lot of people say that the students look the same, but yeah, take with that what you will. There is an like Asian Student Association. They have different sororities and fraternities for different groups if that's something that you're interested in. So there are definitely opportunities, but if that's a concern for you, maybe take a tour, check it out, see how you feel. But that's one thing worth mentioning. Next university I want to talk about is North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I got into this university, and then I went to their like tour day for students that had been accepted, and I had been on campus before, and it is really pretty. I enjoy Chapel Hill and the Durham area a lot. Raleigh area, there's a lot of things going on there, so I'll just start out with the pro. There's a lot going on in that area, so there's a lot of opportunities to get involved, so that's a really big pro. You're not going to be kind of in the middle of nowhere, or you're not going to have to drive really far to get to some opportunities, so that's definitely a pro. Another pro is, of course, it has a really good reputation. So if you tell people, oh yeah, I went to Chapel Hill, like they immediately know what you're talking about. They know that it's hard to get into, it's competitive, and so that's definitely a pro, especially if you're interested in going to graduate school. You want a university that people are going to recognize. And my last pro that I'm going to go into is that because I was a North Carolina resident, the financial aid package was pretty good. It wasn't as good as Appalachian State, and I want to say it wasn't quite as good as UNC Wilmington, but it wasn't bad. It definitely was not bad at all. So that's a pro. Negatives for me personally is I was looking for maybe a more intimate campus, maybe smaller class sizes to really get to know the professors. And when I went to a tour day for like prospective students who had, gotten accepted, they separate you based off of what major you might be interested or kind of topic, and they didn't have one specific to anthropology, which was already kind of a bummer for me because I knew that's what I wanted to do and I really wanted to meet some of those professors, but I got lumped in the biology category, which is fine. But things that I noticed for me personally and some other students that were not so interested in like cellular molecular biology or pre-med was that it didn't seem like you were going to be the priority, which can be problematic because especially in like ecology, biology, anthropology, if you're doing one of those, you're probably going to go to grad school and you really want to get undergraduate research experience and be able to meet and interact and work with your professors a lot. So that was already kind of a negative that I had noticed. And there was one girl who, like, we were in an auditorium, and at the end of the presentation we were able to ask questions to the biology department head, and one of the girls asked, well, how does your marine biology program compare to UNC Wilmington? And if you don't know, UNC Wilmington has a phenomenal marine biology program, and the department head said he didn't know. So if you are interested in pre-med, then it's probably a really great school for you. If you're doing something like marine biology or primatology or ecology, maybe not so much. If you disagree or you've been in a program like this and you really enjoyed it, drop it down in the comments at Chapel Hill. Of course, I didn't go there, so I can't speak to it, but from my personal perception of it, I didn't think that you were going to be the main priority, or you weren't going to get so much face-to-face time with the professors. So that was definitely a con for me. Another con, kind of piggybacking off of that, is it seemed like they had teachers' assistants that were going to be doing a lot of the helping and tutoring and things like that, whereas at Appalachian State, the department is small enough to where if you were going to go to an office hour or you needed help, then you would be working specifically with the professor. They did have TAs, but I think they were more there to help the professor than to be there to help the students. And then, of course, this could be a pro or a con depending on what you're looking for, but my perception of the school culture was that it was competitive and people were on the go and they were really there and they were so into Chapel Hill, which is really great. But if you're looking for maybe a more relaxed campus, maybe that would be a con for you. But if you're really into basketball, you're being really competitive, then maybe Chapel Hill would be a really good school culture for you. Another thing I did want to mention about Chapel Hill, this was a con for me personally, was I did say that the summer after high school I was going to be gone for 8 weeks, and that last week overlapped with the start of the first semester. And when I was touring, I had asked would I be able to start that week late, even if I had kept up with all of my assignments, emailed professors, gotten the okay ahead of time, and they told me most likely no, because it was so rigorous. And that was when they did a lot of their team building, and the freshmen got to hang out and meet each other, which I can kind of understand, but I didn't have any problems kind of assimilating into App. I mean, there's always that shift as a freshman. It can be kind of intimidating, but I still managed to find my friends just fine. I got great grades my first semester, so it really wasn't an issue for me at App, and they were making it seem like it would be near impossible for me to be successful the first semester at Chapel Hill, and that I would need to start, I'm trying to remember if they said start spring, or I would have to wait an entire year, which I was absolutely not willing to do. So if you know you have plans the summer after high school and you're wondering if you can have kind of a an extenuating circumstance or do something like a study abroad and it overlap, it's probably going to be a no for Chapel Hill, which was a pretty big deal breaker for me. So we're going to kind of hop over to an out-of-state school if you're from North Carolina, but I also got into Clemson University, and I did tour this one before I applied, and I got to meet an advisor in the wildlife biology and conservation department, and I have absolutely nothing bad to say about that department or its professors or anything like that. The meeting that I had, it was my parents and I set it up with them, and they were really eager to have me in person and come talk. Someone that was just, I want to say just an advisor for the freshmen, not necessarily that specific department, actually came to like meet us at our car and walk us over to make sure that we'd reach the right spot. I mean, they were very accommodating and very nice and so happy and willing to answer any questions that we had. I remember the tour that we had was one of the students, and she was really nice, really enjoyed Clemson, and you could just tell that the students there really love it. And so that's definitely a pro, is that I feel like if you go to Clemson, then you're gonna really love it. Another pro, of course, is that it seems like there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in research and extracurriculars as an undergrad. And then of course another pro is it's like I would say it's like a household name kind of university. Like you say Clemson and people know what you're talking about, so that's always a plus. Cons for me personally was out-of-state tuition. Of course, it was definitely one of the more expensive options, and one of the things that I would definitely consider as a graduate school, but I personally didn't want to go into that much debt as an undergrad. Another thing for me was that it was also just a really big university. It's very spread out. I could tell that the class sizes were going to be a little bit bigger than I'd wanted, and although I did feel like the professors would be more than happy to meet with you one-on-one and you would get some good experience in undergrad, it was just a little bit bigger than I had wanted, and it seemed like the school culture to me was a little bit preppy and very, very centered around football, and I'm not the biggest football fan, but if you love athletics and you love that just like big sense of community and a big campus, then Clemson would probably be really interesting to you. Next one, I'm going back to North Carolina, is UNC Wilmington. I almost chose UNC Wilmington. I was about to sign the contract or fill out the contract to go to UNC Wilmington, but I kind of just had like this feeling to re-look at App and really just weigh my choices one more time, and I ended up just saying App was a little bit better for me. But pro is you're by the beach. It's a really beautiful area, and Wilmington itself is a lot of fun. Another pro was I felt like the professors were also really willing to talk to you, to work with you, to get you involved in undergraduate research, and in-state tuition. It seemed pretty nice. The dorms as a freshman were really nice from what I had toured. And for me personally, just looking at the anthropology departments, it seemed like if you did anthropology there, you were definitely going to be able to go to a graduate school and get a really good scholarship. But some of the universities that I had seen their anthropology students were going to, I didn't quite know them. So maybe I thought that to App State, I got a little bit more one-on-one, and I was able to have a little bit more diversity in the graduate schools that I could go to. But again, that's just from not even going there, just kind of the outside looking in. But I had absolutely no negatives for me personally. It was just I really liked the primatology and anthropology program at Appalachian State, and I felt like the professors at Appalachian State were more outgoing, more willing to kind of help you. And there was a professor there that was working with species and in the area of animals that I really wanted to work in, so there was just that little bit extra connection for me. But again, I absolutely love UNC Wilmington. Last one would be East Tennessee State University. I believe I got a free application for this one, so that's why I filled this one out. And I realized that the anthropology program didn't have quite what I was looking for. And of course it was out-of-state tuition, even though I was eligible for some of their scholarships. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I didn't tour it or anything. It was just that I got the application for free. So I thought, might as well shoot my shot and see how things go. But yeah, if you have anything to say, personal experiences, perceptions, anything like that about any of these universities, make sure to drop them below to help people out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions about Appalachian State or anthropology, then definitely leave them down below. Have a great day. Bye.